Chapter 19. Window of Time. What is a window of time? What it is to me is kind of like when everything in your world aligns perfectly for you to do something, and this window has a time limit. The time limit more than likely won't be extremely short, but trust me, it won't last forever. It could be months, or maybe even years before another opportunity like such would come back around. The first window of time that I missed was back in like 2007 or 2008. I had a new roommate by the name of Chris. Now, Chris is someone that I looked up to as an entrepreneur for years. Matter of fact, ever since this time that I'm about to reference, he has never had a regular job. He's been hustling and developing multiple streams of income ever since. So I remember it like it was yesterday. He let me know that he had a friend who was selling DVDs. This was back when DVDs were like at their prime. Well before the digital era started to begin, where most people began to get their movies and shows online or streaming via Netflix, Hulu, cable, etc., etc. So Chris came to me and was like, yo, you might want to get down on this DVD game. Basically, you purchase whatever number of DVD towers of your choice. I seriously did consider it, but I didn't choose it. He purchased whatever number of DVD tower burners of his choice, found the platform to get the data that goes on the DVDs, and then burned them. The rest is all profit. I actually think that back then, he only initially invested like maybe $700. That was it. I let $700 get in between the beginning of my journey. I had the money to invest to purchase the same things that he did, and I also had the same grind. But I chose to squander away my money on everything else but my hustle. I chose to say no at the time because I didn't see the greater benefit. At the time, I couldn't see what he was doing. All I thought was that I didn't want to become some damn DVD man. Now, little did I know, at the age of 21, this was the best time to just start hustling. That it didn't matter what hustle it was, just as long it was your own hustle. I think Chris knew something that I didn't. He knew that if he started a stream of income at that very moment, that he would own his own time. He wouldn't have to punch a clock like I did. We were both in college at the time, so our time was limited. I chose to be stupid, to pass up on the opportunity of developing my first real stream of income and becoming an owner of my time. I mean, I know I said stupid, but you know what I mean. I just chose not to do it, and I mean, now I'm not all sad about it, but believe me, I'm aware. It's very likely that I would be wildly successful now had I chose to jump in that specific window of time back then, but I didn't. And who knows, maybe that road at the time would have led me to a worse place, but more than likely, I would have been ahead of the game at a very young age. And this same book I'm writing would have been out maybe 7 years ago. Then again, maybe entrepreneurship wouldn't have been as popular or easy as it is to get into today. What I do know is that Chris has since grown in major ways. He's actually running a professional credit company where he is literally changing people's lives and giving them new starts in life. That's super amazing, Chris. You're out here doing it, man. I love it. So the point of this short story is to illustrate that these windows have an expiration point. Shortly after I refused to partner up with Chris and start creating my own income, I chose to keep working at Papa John's, delivering pizza, and going to school. I was working on music at the time, so maybe that's what I thought I wanted to be doing. But I kept working that simple job until I graduated college. Looking back at it, I would have jumped on that opportunity to work with him in a heartbeat. Because I know that I would have had so much more time to do even more. I think I decided not to because I was comfortable with the little bit of money I was getting at the time with Papa John's. And not to mention that the team at the Papa John's I was at was super duper cool, and we all smoked weed. But just because I didn't take up the opportunity to begin my entrepreneurial career back then didn't mean that another one wouldn't come. My opportunity did come, about 7 years later. I'm sure I had tried other ways to start my entrepreneurial journey in that time period in between, but none of them obviously looked good enough to jump and invest everything into. Either that or they just didn't work. But the second time around in 2015, when everything aligned to show me that it was now or never, I didn't hesitate this time. I jumped on it. That's when I did everything I had to do to begin my professional video marketing company. It has led me to this point now, writing this book and sharing my knowledge as I too have developed multiple streams of income. So when you come across opportunities to start your business, do it. If you already know what you want to do, then perfect. But if you were like me and you reached a point where you don't necessarily know what you want to do, but an opportunity presents itself that will allow you to develop a stream of self-made income, don't spend too much time deliberating whether or not it's right or wrong. Don't let your friends influence you and convince you that it may not work. And definitely don't just look at the first view of what opportunity will hold. You have to look at the bird's eye view. When you do look at the bird's eye view, it's very possible that you will see the bigger picture of how this move could help you get to a place you want to be. Most importantly, know that all it takes is just one thing to switch up in your life. That can make a window of opportunity either be a lot smaller or no longer existing. Here's a short example. You have an idea to start a business, and let's say it just takes about $3,500 to start. Now, that amount is small or large depending on who we're talking to. But even still, there are several businesses that you can start for even half that amount. So let's say you have the money to take the chance and get started. But instead, you waste time deliberating and end up not choosing it. That's fine. Another opportunity will come up, right? And let's say it does, 6 months later. But by this time, you spent a lot of money that you did have at the time to invest, but you get some news that make it 10 times harder to decide on yes. You get the news that you're going to be a father or a mother. Now, that same window that you had is at best a lot smaller. You now have to consider this new life that you're bringing into the world, and you don't have all the money you once had to begin investing into your business. See what I'm saying? The decision to start your business at this point, when you have a new kid on the way, is going to be way harder to decide. And to be quite honest, it's way more risky at this point. So, no, that story isn't guaranteed to happen. Of course not. But similar situations that make things harder are very, very likely to happen. The moral of this chapter is, don't be scared. Take the jump out of that window when you see it's open for you.